Hello. Hi, welcome everybody. Errogie music live, not mirrored. Good comments immediately straight away. Let's see if I can fix that. Thank you for persevering. Evening all. Hi Gavin. Hey John. Hey Michael. Let's see if I can fix this so it's not mirrored. And thank you for your patience. So let me see. I'm trying a new camera, as you can probably immediately tell. And let's see, what if I do this? No, that's not it. That's definitely not it. Let's try. Always a kind of a few things just immediately going wrong. It seems like. Okay, I think this might be it. That's better, isn't it? Audio good, visual reversed. Hey Dream Angus. Hi everyone, I think that's it fixed now. How's the sound? Is it distorting at all, or is it too quiet? Ian Barclay, welcome, my good man. James, hello. You're listening in the car outside Dundas Castle. That's excellent. I'm not sure I know where that is, but anyone else know where Dundas Castle is? I love this. James and Ian, exceptional musicians and gentlemen of a fantastic Ceilidh band called Kilter. If you're looking for a wedding Ceilidh, check out Kilter Ceilidh band. They basically lording it in the Central Belt and beyond in Scotland. Exceptional crack, dance calling, musicianship, and just like many years experience. Very good guys. I'm very fortunate enough to get to play with those guys now and again, and it's always a laugh. So that's excellent. Sounds fine. Thank you, Gavin. Good. Right. Okay. One day, one of these years, I will have a smooth start. Welcome, everybody. So, if you don't know me, and you're watching in the future, or if you're just watching now, hello, my name's Adam. I'm a fiddle player and lover of good melody. Melody is my favourite thing, and I'm just starting a wee little humble YouTube channel here in my shed somewhere in Scotland, just most Sundays at 7 p.m, sharing basically my love of tunes of from the Scottish music tradition, sharing that love, and with a aim to help anyone either get into writing their own tunes, or if you're already writing your own tunes, start writing your tunes. However, I've just been thinking a lot about this. I'm always refining things, which I think is just a good way to be, whatever you do in life, just to be constantly looking for ways to make them better. I feel like in order to, rather than just expecting people watching this to go and write their own tunes or hoping they will, I think actually, like, this is, you don't have to write your own tunes to hopefully get something from this. You don't have to care about other people's tunes. I think at its core, I'm going to make this just an appreciation of beautiful melody, because that is, like, for me, I'm just realizing this, that happens before any writing or rather all writing for me, and I think anyone else, comes from a habitual appreciation of beautiful shapes, melodic shapes, beautiful melody. So not putting the cart before the horse is what I'm saying. So rather than saying start writing, how about, although that is good crack to just start writing, how about we just start appreciating beautiful tunes? And if you go beyond that into writing your own tunes, bonus, but you don't have to. So there you go, enough talk. This week I'm going to share with you something I've noticed, and if you've seen my adverts for this show, you'll kind of know where I'm going with this, but there's a great many outstanding tunes in the Scottish traditional repertoire that are marches, which you can guess what they've been traditionally used for doing. And there's 2/4 marches, that's the time signature I'm referring to. There's 6/8 marches, 9/8 marches, 3/4 marches. I'm probably missing some out, but there's a whole pile of marches, and they are very often bagpipe tunes. Not entirely, and one of the tunes I'm going to be referring to tonight is not a bagpipe tune. It's written on the accordion. The accordion is an instrument I love to slag off, but it's basically coming from a place of jealousy. How dare they just accompany themselves with such ease? I'm just a massively frustrated chord player stuck on this instrument, which I do love, but I mean, come on, there should be some chord buttons. I don't know. So there's an accordion march. There's loads of marches in traditional music, and forgive me if you already know this, but I'm just going to kind of come at this from the bottom up. So what is it that I've noticed? I can think of 4 marches that start with the same 3 notes. And rather impressively, these 4 tunes don't sound the same as each other. So I'm going to just start off by just playing you the first few notes of these tunes. And hopefully I'm going to get these tunes mixed up. I have a thing in my brain where tunes that are kind of similar, my brain tries to make them all the same folder or all the same file. And I have to say, no brain, that's not the same file, or my brain just says file corrupted, file not found, 404, file not found. Anyway, so hopefully I'm going to get this right. No pressure, just like live on the internet. But I might actually get a wee visual aid here. I might just cheat a bit. Is it cheating though? I don't know. Let's find out. So the first one I'm going to look at starts, well, they all start the same way. Actually, I'll just start off with, how do they start? They start off with A, B, C sharp. All 4 of them start with that. And the first 2 notes are the upbeat notes, and the is the downbeat or beat 1. So Father John Macmillan of Barra, which is written by Norman MacDonald, goes. I'm not going to play all 4 parts of this tune. I would recommend, if you don't know it, go and learn it. But just for the point of this, I'm going to just play the first phrase. So one more time. Okay, that's Father John Macmillan of Barra by Norman MacDonald. Next tune I'm going to do is called Donald MacLean's Farewell to Oban. And that goes like this. Note the similarities. So here we go. John Macmillan of Barra. Donald MacLean's Farewell to Oban. So they start the same way, but then immediately go off. Okay, I am building towards a point here, but I'm just first of all laying out my case. That's 2 of the 4 tunes I can find. I bet there's more. If you can think of another one, by the way, chuck it in the comments. In fact, any comments you have, chuck in the comments. Comment away or not. There's no pressure, but it is good to hear, because honestly, sitting in my shed, sometimes I wonder, is anyone even there? Am I just some lunatic sat in his shed staring at a wee red light talking to himself? And that thought crosses my mind rather more times than is probably psychologically healthy. But that's just to say, feel free to chuck in any comments. Right, that's 2 of the 4 marches that start with Yum Hadai. Let's go for a third one. Which one is it? Maybe you already have it in your head. Here we are. This is a newer one. This is written by the late Gordon Duncan. And this is called Pipe Major Sandy Spence. I have actually played this with the gentleman in the chat tonight from the aforementioned Kilter Ceilidh Band. A wonderful tune. Here's how it starts. There we go. Pipe Major Sandy Spence. Oh, we are having some comments. In Varan by G.S. McClellan. Ian, I'm going to just say that suggestion, I'm hazarding a guess here, that did not come from you, of the 2 people sat in the car. Forgive me if I have cast aspersions on your excellent character. Major Manson's Farewell to Clachan Trushel. Okay, maybe... I can't remember how they go. I'm immediately showing my ignorance, but I'm going to say that was James. Thank you, James, via Ian Barclay, and apologies, Ian, if I've just burned you. The Scottish Highlanders with 2 exclamation marks. This is exceptional. I'm going to have to go and look these up. Or you at home, go and look up these tunes. Here's the 4th one that I can think of. There's many. There are many, Ian. This is a newer tune. This is written by... John Somerville, accordion player. I mentioned the accordion earlier. John is from the other side of Loch Ness, from where I was brought up, and John is an exceptional composer and also Ceilidh Band master, Ceilidh Band dude. This is his tune Balchragan, written for where he is from, and you already know how it starts, but here's how it goes. I'm getting mixed up now. There we go. So that's John Somerville's Balchragan, and I'm just looking in the comment. Ian Barclay is laughing, haha, correct. I'm relieved, but also I hope I haven't insulted you, but also just I just know you're sitting next to an exceptional piper and flautist and physiotherapist and doctor now. So yeah, there we go. So why am I making a video live stream about pipe marches, or several pipe marches going yum hadai? Well, here's why. First of all, I just think it's amazing that the tunes don't sound so close, that people are just like, oh, that Pipe Major Sandy Spence tune sounds just like a rip-off of John Macmillan of Barra, which is also a rip-off of Don McLean's Farewell to Oban, and that Balchragan by John Somerville is a rip-off of all 3. No one's saying that. That's interesting. To me, in my little nerdy tune-analysing brain, I find that really interesting. So what I'm going to slide across the table to you, composers, would-be composers, or people who just don't care about composing, but I'm just going to make this case to you, is that if you were to wish to write your own march, you could start it, I think, by just going, you've guessed it, Yum Hadai. Side note, when I was making my little video to promote this, I was just going Yum Hadai, and I have a wee app, an AI app, which puts in captions automatically. I was highly amused and impressed with the AI robot's ability to translate my utterly random vocable sounds into Hyum Hadai. Anyway, roll back from that comment. I just wanted to go down there for a second. That was funny. So if you want to write a march, why don't you start it with Hyum Hadai and then just see where it goes? I often tell my aforementioned friend, composer John Somerville, that first of all, I congratulate him on his wonderful tune, Balcragan. It's exceptional. It's a 2-part tune. It's beautiful. And I just say to him, man, if I wanted to try and write a march and make it not sound like something else, I probably wouldn't have chosen to start it with Hyo Hadai. But you did, and it sounds completely original, and it's an awesome tune. So respect to you, my man. I don't know if I could pull it off. So here's me giving out advice to you to try something that I myself wouldn't try. I've just realized maybe I should just actually try this myself. Anyway, that's it. Getting started writing a tune is often, when I teach tune writing in workshops or in person, people say quite often, don't know how to get started. And I relate to that. So me making this video is kind of like an attempt to just like say, here's a way to get started. So you could start with Hyum Hadai. Okay, so that's my first point I want to make. Second of all, I'm going to just move on to something else now, kind of related. There's other ways of starting marches which have the same rhythm, bum ba ba, but with different notes. And apologies if you can hear the background music. It's just because it's getting springtime here in my little corner of Scotland and children are playing. How dare they? Anyway, John McFadden of Melford. I feel like the name John is overrepresented in pipe march titles, but that's just a thing. It doesn't matter. John McFadden of Melford by John McCall goes at the start. All these tunes are just absolutely beautiful. But that one, as instead of going, they're all on A, I should say, unless they're in the bagpipes in B flat, but they're all going dum-ba-dee in notes of A major. Rather than going up to the C sharp or the major third, this one's coming down, landing on E, which is the 5th note of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's another one. I feel like we can make some kind of quiz show, really nerdy, weird, niche quiz show of pipe march starts. And I really wish I could had the time, or maybe an assistant. Maybe one day I will have an assistant who can be sitting there like Joe Rogan's got like some assistant who passes some stuff and looks stuff up. And I can't believe I just compared my little show to Joe Rogan. I'm sure he's watching. Joe, go and write your own tunes, man. But I don't have time to look up all her tunes. However, I'm going to just chuck out a few other starts of pipe tunes that I can think of. So that's Hey Badai, John McFadden of Melford. And then there is this lovely tune, Mrs. H.L. MacDonald of Danacht. So that's in a different key for a start. It's in D. But again, it's like a different vibe, note-wise, but the same rhythm. He then repeats it and goes off. So I got 3 different introductory starts. Okay. And here's something that I have been toying with the idea of doing for a while. I have not done this. This is not going to be like an episode of Blue Peter where they go, here's one I made earlier. I really have not made this before. I'm going to try and write something using all of these little first statements from pipe marches. And part of the reason for doing that is just for the crack. And another reason I've thought of to do this is because if and when the AI robots rise up to take over humanity and wipe us out or whatever, but first of all steal our pipe tunes, I think this is what I imagine an AI tune writing bot might write. So this is a wee tune writing challenge that I've given to myself, and actually if you want to try this tune writing challenge, you can, particularly you Patreon subscribers who are in my tune writing community. Shameless plug, I have a Patreon page with a tune writing community. Also, while I'm on plugging, please like and subscribe. I always forget to say that, and the data from YouTube tells me that most people who watch this do not like and subscribe, so I'm not going to shame you. I may slightly shame you, but no, just I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, and it helps me in my life. End of that. Roll back a bit. I give out tune writing challenges to my patrons, and here's one for you guys. Write what you imagine an AI tune writing robot would write were it to be composing a 2/4 march. That's the challenge I've given to myself, and this is what I imagine it might do. There's a whole debate about, are we not just robots anyway? Because are all our tunes, this is what I think about, are all our tunes not just like bits of other tunes, like a jigsaw being put back together in a different way? I don't know. I actually, in a way, would love it if some AI super intelligence started composing the most awesome tunes. I wouldn't really care. I just love a good tune. It's like there's something bigger. It's just these notes in this order. That sounds pleasing. I don't care where it comes from. If a machine makes it up and I love it, I love it. So I personally am not scared of that. I welcome all discoveries of melody. And it would be so amazing if an AI started writing stuff that was not just ripped off, but it was original enough to be called something new. Anyway, that's me just stalling. I'm going to try and write a tune in the style of an AI super intelligence, writing 2/4 marches in the style of the Great Highland bagpipes, looking at starting phrases from the last century. And that's a sentence that I've never said before, and I'm willing to bet no one's possibly said that sentence before. Not wishing to big up myself, but you know. Okay. A 2/4 bagpipe march in the style of an AI superintelligence wishing to take over the world. I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm going to just mix up these phrases and try and make a tune. So wish me luck if anyone's still watching. And here we go. Whew. Screaming children outside is a nice little bit of extra sauce in the mix here. No. Okay, so that is like probably quite one of the hardest things I think I've done. Certainly today, apart from a nappy change earlier, which was harder than that. Anyway, I lost track of where all the ideas I'd been chucking out were going, so it wasn't a fully coherent tune, and I definitely, some of those phrases were dastardly AI plagiarized of other tunes. I'm sure anyone who listening who knows Pipe Marches will be going, that sounds weirdly familiar and like you've just ripped it off. So I'm actually going to say I might not have written an exciting tune. I might not have written an original tune, but I think I've done a pretty good impression of what a AI super intelligence setting out to write 2/4 marches might do. It might just sound a bit generic and a bit like lots of other tunes, but actually slightly tuneful. I don't know. Thank you, Gavin Maxwell, for your applause. I appreciate that. So that was just a bit of a random little thing. But again, if you're writing to write your tunes, you can just take little bits, little nuggets, put them in different orders. Just try stuff. Just try it. See what you like. I chucked in there was a G sharp at one point in there, so that immediately wasn't a bagpipey. Any keen listeners will notice that I abandoned the bagpipe scale, so that would have been like, no. Unless if you were doing like a chat GPT type thing, you'd say, make a new request, but make it so that it breaks the rules of bagpipes once. Anyway, let me see. Alberto, comment, let me see. You probably included more tonal variety than what AI would do. Well, do you know, I think we're going to find out. I can't stop thinking about what jobs AI is going to take. Ceilidh Band members here, is it going to be robots calling dances? Robot Ceilidh Bands? Is that a risk? Surely not. But in a way, if it was like robots turning up with a beat up van to a gig and loading in PA and being all polite to the bride and groom and making sure that the the Spotify playlist was up and running and the first dance was okay, and only to be told that the wedding speeches are surprise, surprise, running over and that they might have to sit for a bit. Who knows what jobs. So there you go. That is a little bit about how to get started writing your own march, and just to make the point that you can pick some notes that have already been used for the start of a tune. It doesn't even have to be yum hada. That's why I was including some other phrases, just to make the point that it seems like you can get away with writing a new tune, as John Somerville, my accordion playing friend, has done, by just starting with these three notes and wandering off. And it seems like no one seems to care or even notice, except for nerdy me sat in my shed. One more comment. So far it does sound like a pretty lousy job with trad, but one never knows. Are you referring to, is there like an actual AI that writes tunes? I had heard an inkling that there might have been an AI writing tunes. I find that very exciting. Okay, that's part one of this out of the way. I'm teaching myself music, and what I would love to teach when I'm teaching fiddle classes is I'd like to try and teach people to not need a teacher, or to need teachers less. So I used to work at a couple of schools in Glasgow, and one of the things I would always say to the kids is, I'm trying to teach you guys that you can teach yourself. First of all, you don't need to be spoon-fed everything, and that you should be trying to teach yourself, whilst also saying, I'm here to help. I'm not going to completely abandon you, but I want to give you some tools to start to think for yourself, and to fervently, feverishly like a ferret, go after where you want to learn, and just go after it, which is what I've been doing myself since I was a teenager. And so I try to teach people how to think, and so I say one of the things I'd love to do is to get an email from your parents referring again to these children I was teaching, I would love to get an email from your parents saying, we're very sorry, but you're fired because Johnny is just teaching himself now to such a high level that your services are no longer required. And I genuinely want that. I would love it if I had taught someone to be so excited about teaching themselves that they just were like, I don't need you. Honestly, I would love that. Financially, that would pose some challenges, but spiritually, that would be the most exciting thing in the world. So with all that said, I'm going to try and teach anyone listening here right now, I don't know what you call it, a schema or a way of thinking. It's like a filter that I put onto a decision-making process, and this filter, or this this different filter allows me. It works in so many different situations, and I'm going to try and describe it to you. It's actually hard to describe, but I'm going to try. I'll just look at a couple of comments before I do so. Dream Angus, hello. The dawning of the day starts that way. You think that's Irish though? Fan na Gael and lay. There we go. Great. Thank you. I will check that out, or you should all check that out yourselves if I'm going to be even more hard-nosed about getting you to teach yourself. Do your own research. What am I talking about though, about teaching you how to think? You may already do this, and I'm sure you guys all have ways of thinking that I don't know yet, and I would love to learn. But I'm going to just share this with you. Let me know if this, first of all, if it doesn't make any sense. Let me know if it does make sense, and let me know what you think. But how do I describe this? So I'm going to use this case as an example. It's what I imagine if you are looking, if what we've been doing so far is following a map with a wee road, and we're zoomed in, or we've got the map held up to our faces, and we're just looking at the road and maybe a couple of junctions ahead and maybe one or two hills. That's what we've been doing so far, looking at Dumhuddy, and then when we went to Dam, that was us zooming out just a wee bit to another similar start. And then when we looked at 3 different opening phrases, that was us like zooming back a little bit further, so seeing a little bit more of the general landscape. So what I'm going to do is keep doing that. So what does it look like in this instance if we zoom way out? So you're not looking just at a tiny bit of road, but you've got like the whole map of the country, maybe the whole planet and the stars around it. What I mean by that is we're looking at ways to start writing a tune with Hyum Hadam, and looked at the ones that exist. Zooming out, what would it sound like if we just picked 3 notes that aren't any 3 notes that we can think of? In other words, is there a way to start a march with the same rhythm, dum-de-da, but 3 different notes that haven't been used at all? So I would like start trying to think of different ways, different notes, trial and error, and then taking a step back even further, be like, what about abandoning the pipe scale? All the notes we've been doing so far, hum hadim, even if we change the notes, we're still in the pipe scale. What about mucking up into a different mode? That's us taking a step further back. Extrapolating, it's like extrapolating what about, so that the only thing you haven't changed is actually the rhythm. I would suggest that at the point when you change the rhythm, then you're maybe, that's like a departure from the 2/4 march thing. You're maybe going into something else. Maybe that's worthwhile, but within the confines of that rhythm, what about just going through all the mental modes that you can get and trying all those? So I said to John Somerville, as I've said like 3 times in this video so far, wow, you wrote a 2/4 march starting Hyum Hadam. If it was me, and I said I wouldn't use those, if it was me, I would be, to try and get something that's sounding original, I would think outside of the box to what are 3 notes that are just what's not been done before. I've been thinking this way for a long time. I wrote that Road to Errogie tune in B major, because I just thought, are there any keys that I don't know tunes in, and what's not been done, or what's like fertile ground? And I thought, why do I not know any tunes in B? I've never even heard of one, so I just went for that. I don't think that that's particularly like clever. I just think it's like, it's a low-hanging fruit. I think this way of thinking is quite simple, and I don't know why it doesn't happen more. So that's what I'm trying to teach, is whatever you're doing, can you just try different options, particularly ones that haven't been done before, and maybe bend the rules a little bit, but just look for things that haven't been done yet. So what would that sound like? I think it'd be only fair if I was to provide some kind of example. So I'm going to stick with the rhythm, dum da da. So these have all been major key ones. So let's think, what's a minor key one? I'm sure there's loads of minor key marches that start with like. But what about like a different mode that doesn't even sound Scottish? I'm going to actually just do a thing where I'm going to put one of the tunes that I've been playing before, I'm going to put it in a different mode just to make this case. There you go. I don't know if that's something that I like. I don't know. But okay, I'm going to just try and think of something that's different and hopefully fun. So let's get away from A. Let's get to a different key. Even just a different key. I don't think I like that, but I can hear that someone else might make that work. It doesn't really move me, but I was imagining Ross Ainsley working that and making it work in my head there. Or Fraser Fifield actually going, yeah, making that work. So you can hear by keeping the rhythm, it still sounds like a 2/4 march, but it's in E and it's got C naturals. And let's think of another one. Again, I don't really like that, but it's different. The point is that you might not immediately come up with something that you like. You might never come up with something you like, but you're widening your search. Yeah, this is kind of like people who are good at searching the internet. People who are good at typing in clever search terms into Google or ChatGPT. It's kind of like that. What would widening the search do? Changing the parameters. You might find nothing, but you might find something. And if you never do it, then you definitely find nothing. Does that make sense? And if it's not working, you might chuck in another thing into the mix. You might think of a story or a place. So would someone chuck in a type of film, a genre of film, and I will try and compose a 2/4 march that might be used in that genre. Okay, and I'm not going to put any suggestions. So someone chuck in a genre of film or theatre and I'm going to try and write something in that genre, sticking with this rhythm, but using that and maybe another key to potentially take this to some tune which might be fun. I don't really like anything I've written so far tonight. I'm okay with that. I don't have to like it. But yeah, please chuck in a genre. I'm just going to look down and wait. I've got one in my head, but I'm not going to say that because I guess if no one comments, then I will actually just do that one. Rom-com. No. Oh, you, Michael. That's like the hardest one. And I should love this. I asked for this. I literally asked for a rom-com 2/4 March. Oh my goodness me. Lawnmower road movie. What's a lawnmower road movie? Is that I don't know any more info about what that is. A heist thriller. Okay. By the way, you guys should try this, right? This is not just some kind of like experiment where I'm the lab rat, although increasingly it feels that way. Right. Noir in a harmonic minor scale. That was probably the easiest one, but I'm going to start with rom-com. Oh my goodness me. So I guess it's going to be a major key. Is this like the moment when the two lovers are finally reunited, perhaps after some horrendous ordeal? Rom-com 2/4 March. I've got to get myself in that frame of mind. Oh, it's a comedy as well, so it's not even like a. I think it'd be easier if it was just romance, but like, oh my goodness me. Right. I don't think I got much of the comedy into that. And to my discomfort, I think I might have liked that. Or some of that. Which, this is a lesson for me, but it's a lesson for you as well. It's like, if you set off to write something in a particular feel, and you fail to get that feel across in your melody, but in doing so you find a melody that you like, then who cares how you got there? So yeah, thank you, Michael, for suggesting that I write a rom-com in the style of a 2/4 March. Whew. I think there's something to that. Thank you, Michael. But just to recap, I didn't just write it writing a rom-com, tried to pick different notes, a different key, but sticking to the rhythm, so the thread of the 2/4 march was still there. And what I wrote was too rambling. If I was going to make it into an actual tune, I'd have a much more repetition. But yeah. Okay, Alberto, it's a win. Thank you. You conceptually, yes. Okay, next. I think after I get through these, I'll probably call it a day. Lawnmower Road Movie. Gavin Maxwell. The Straight Story, slow road movie on a John Deere lawnmower. Okay, so I'm sat on a John Deere lawnmower, and it's a road film. So like it's a road trip. So like, wow, what's the weather doing on this lawn? I'm gonna say it's the middle of the night and it's raining. Middle of the night and it's raining, and I'm driving down the road on my lawnmower, and this 2/4 march is the soundtrack. Whoa. I liked that, or some of it. I think there's bits. I think that had some legs. I feel like I'm a bit of cheese that's been grated, and you guys are the ones shoving me down the cheese grater. But in a way, I also asked for this, so I can't put that on you. You're forcing me to like write stuff. Maybe this is a good way to write music for stuff. Certainly got a couple of starting points for tunes. Wow, okay. So that was road trip, driving down a road on a lawnmower, and it's the middle of the night and it's raining. Michael Bishop, consuming lots of grass whilst driving. I presume you're referring to the mechanical machinations of the lawnmower and nothing else. Thank you for your nice comments. Right, I'm getting there. What's next? A heist thriller. Okay, so definitely like danger. Maybe there's people fighting on top of a train which is moving really fast. Ideally for me, this wouldn't be a 2/4 march. That's my first thought. That would be like a jig, something. But it's a 2/4 march. And that's the deal. That's the brief. So I have to just shut up about wishing it was not that. 2/4 march, heist movie, thriller. Okay. So I need to think of like maybe a key that's got a bit of... What mode's got thriller? I think... I forget what you call that mode, but it's like... It's got a sharpened fourth. And the rhythm, of course, is dum ba da. Okay, I hate that. That's the last tune I was writing. Ah, ha, ha. Right, I'm giving up with that one, but I did something, so hopefully that passes the test. That was tough. I wanted to break out. I guess if I was really breaking the rules, I would just go, no, not doing a 2/4 march. I would do something else. I'm here. I think a jig, like maybe. Yes, Alberto, the Simpsons mode. That's what it. That's what that mode should just be renamed from whatever it is. I'm probably gonna get this video stricken down now for playing that. Okay. Where are we at then? Looking at other options here, I have is that it? Oh no, we have a film noir. So this is like maybe like a murder film. Maybe it's like in black and white or sepia tones. Again, a 2/4 march. Oh my goodness me. Gavin and Michael, Patreon subscribers, any other Patreon subscribers, I want you guys to try this. Please don't just leave me being the only one trying this. Please chuck that in Discord chat. I would really love to hear, just so I'm not on my own with this. Okay, film noir, 2/4 march. I mean, the first thoughts would be a minor key, but then my way of thinking, which loves to just say what if I'm wrong, says but maybe it shouldn't be a minor key, or maybe it should be neutral, like no third. Film noir, I might make it a bit slower. Is that allowed? There was different versions of the B part. You'll have heard it wasn't exactly the same. I couldn't quite remember what I'd done each time. I just remembered that it was kind of doing C sharp minor to D. I was, whilst writing that, thinking I don't want to be too close to the second part of Andy Thorburns' Marnie Swanson, which does a kind of semitone thing, but also thinking that you can't worry about that too much. You can maybe look at it afterwards, and if it is too close, either ditch it or change it to the point where it's no longer too close. But I think the first part, if it's original, I think I like that. I'm experiencing another thought, which was just like, yeah, but what does anyone else think about it? Maybe no one else likes it. And then that's just a thought I have a lot, and I have to just bat that back with something which includes swear words and has a punk nature, rejecting what everyone else may or may not think, accompanied with another thought telling myself to get a grip. That's a little bit of my inner monologue there. You probably don't want to hear any more than that, but I just thought I'd share that with you just for full transparency and to let you know that I'm not someone who's just like, there's always friction in my head, and I always have battles and doubts. And I think sometimes people who write music, particularly people who are new to write music, maybe think that they're the only ones having battles and doubts. And actually I think any creative person writing or doing any kind of creative output has battles and doubts. It's just whether you let them derail the process or not, I think, or whether you let them win. And maybe good music or good art wouldn't be good. I mean, good's the wrong word, but maybe effective music and effective art wouldn't be that way if there wasn't some kind of friction along the way. So there we go. That's an hour of massively deep, complex warren of 2/4 March. We started off, as you know, if you've been here for the whole lot, looking at existing tunes using what I call cultural memes, because no one seems to own Hyam Hadai. And then we looked at a couple of other ones that are used a lot, Hampida and Hyam Hadaim, and then went into the kind of extrapolating, widening of search style of thinking to what if we kept the rhythm but really messed with either the key or the mode or both. And then, and I did not set out to do this, and I've never done this before, then I don't even know how we got into this. Suddenly I was having to write 2/4 marches in this style of a film. Oh, I remember how, it's because I was saying if you can't quite get going with a march by just picking some notes, maybe pick a feel. And that's why I mentioned pick a film. So I've learned a lot about tonight. Maybe you, if you want to write your own tunes, could try some of this. It doesn't have to be just to use the extrapolating, widening of search filming, widening of search thinking. You don't have to do a 2/4 march. You could do this with any type of tune. You could look at existing tunes that start in certain ways and use those notes. You could see if you can do so whilst writing another original tune, bearing in mind that there's several cases of that working, and not worry about ripping off a tune because maybe it's going to be okay. And just try stuff. Try different modes. Try making up marches to films. So there we go. And yeah, my brain is reaching a state of wonderful enfrazzlement. So I'm going to wind it up there. If anyone's got any questions or anything, feel free to chuck them in the chat just now. But I'm going to unwind my bow. And thank you all for coming along. And if you're in the future, thank you for watching this. Errogie music live on Sundays at 7 p.m. most Sundays. Come and see me on Patreon. I have a free tier, which is obviously free. It's just a nice way to keep a little bit of a closer relationship with people than just like this. But if you also want to support me on Patreon, you can. You get random video diaries and tunes, and just hear my new tunes. Here you just get a lot more. Basically, I try to give a lot more whilst raising a small toddler with my lovely wife. I try hard, and yeah, I'll stop shamelessly promoting that. It's been great just to be challenged quite so vigorously. Again, I do feel like a cheese grater. I have been grated. So thank you for grating me, good people. Thank you, Gavin, Alberto, Michael, Dream Angus, my regulars. And Ian Barkley, I think you may have gone off to do your Kaylee with James. Have a good Kaylee. John, Michael Bishop, yeah. Anyone else who's not commented, thank you. You don't have to comment, you don't have to get to the chat. I really just appreciate it. So I'm going to say goodbye, and thank you all again, and I'll be back this time next Sunday. Have a great week. Go and write something if you want. Alright, okay. Bye bye. Signing off.